Hi, this is Rick. This will be the fourth of my videos charting my progress learning how to ride an EUC. Now this one I thought I would do a little more personally and to just show and talk through where I'm at. Now I have reached a point where, if you've watched my videos, you will see that I've been using forearm crutches to enable me to get on the machine and ride and learn how to ride. So I've got to the point where I can go in straight lines. I can now turn corners, although by no means an expert. I think I've gone far enough on that to now start to focus on how do I get on and how do I get off the machine. Now, I'm finding that the hardest part of this, and the main reason for that is, clearly as you can see, I'm not a young man anymore, and I'm carrying a little bit of weight, which doesn't help. But the main reason is I have damaged knees. I ruptured my right ACL some years ago, and my right leg was my dominant leg. My left leg is now the one that has become my lead leg, my dominant leg, and so learning the muscle memory, I think, in my left leg doesn't come as naturally as it would do in my right leg. Now this has meant that I have problems countering the weight when I step up to move away to step onto the machine without immediately falling off. So I've had to come up, I hope, with some innovative ways to get past that. And if I flip the camera, I've flipped the camera over, so I'm now going to pan round and show what I've come up with as a way to move on to training. May look a little odd. I suppose it is. What I've done, in the first instance, I have dropped the pedals by 30 millimeters, which in American is about 1.25 inches. I wanted my center of gravity down a little closer to the ground to make the step up a little easier. The second thing that I've done is I have made, out of strong aluminium sheet, a plate that sits onto the machine, because the machine width is only 9-10 inches, if that. So I've made a plate that sits slightly higher and further out at the back, in order that I could then put a set of Clark pads on, because they're quite big. Now what I was looking for with the Clark pads is a little more depth here for control. Because of my weak knees, I needed a little more control and security in what I was doing. I then fitted above that the upper control pads that came with the unit, and my knee sits about here. So this combination at the moment is relieving the pressure on my knees, particularly on the right side, my right knee, and allows me to feel a bit more in control. Now, this weird thing that I've done here is I've actually taken the arm crutch that I used to have when I first blew my knee, that's been sitting gathering dust, and I've made a handle, and I will explain what that's for if it isn't obvious. I made a stainless steel 2-inch box to replace the plastic mount, so I've got something that's really firm that I've mounted the handle, a cut off handle off the crutches, and fix them so it's quite sturdy. And what that allows me to do is to when I mount the machine, you clearly need to counter the weight with your, in my case, left foot. And I'm having trouble with this being 35 kilos. It's pretty damn heavy. So what I've done is put the handle on where I can counter the weight by hand whilst I get through the learning curve of gently moving off, stepping up and down, which I've seen shown on a lot of other tutorial videos. So I'm now at the early stages of learning how to get onto the machine, move forward and get off again. Once that's done, this will be removed, but I have to say that my plans are to build a frame to go around here, and I have to give thanks to Dawn Champion, who I follow quite avidly on YouTube, who put up a video on how she made like a protection frame, an energy absorbing cage device for if the machine goes down, the cage takes the punishment, a sacrificial cage for the want of a better word. And I just loved that idea. I have to give praise to Dawn for her ability to see a problem, visualize a solution, and then execute the solution. What she built, I thought, was sound engineering. Just as background, I'm a research chemist and research chemical engineer. I hold 2 qualifications, so I can appreciate what she's done. I spent most of my adult working life in America, funnily enough. Firstly in California, near Sacramento, and then I spent a long time down in Houston, and spent a few years up in Washington State near Seattle. And one final thing I just wanted to point out, well actually penultimate thing I wanted to point out, was this cord handle. I found that the kill handle under here, the lifting handle, there's a little rubber unit that helps to lock this into place when it's closed. It kept coming off, the adhesive's gone, so I've tried fresh adhesive, doesn't seem to work, even by siliconing the contact faces. So I've decided that this can stay in place until it's really needed, and I made a simple cord lift handle for the back. This will go, and then I will follow Dawn's design idea of a cage unit. One of the things that attracts me about it is that I need to try and get the control pressure from my legs as high as possible to relieve the pressure on my knees. And I'm hoping that if I make a cage, that will help. Plus, with the inevitable falling off, I'd rather have a sacrificial plastic cage that goes than this. I do want to say that as part of my attempt to learn to ride this, I tried learning how to move on, away and stop in the seated position. And even though I've got a relatively short inside leg, I found that it was too low. So I went and bought a ordinary bicycle gel seat cover. And this, with the King Song, is perfect because it wraps around on this tie. So you just tighten this up with the pull tie here underneath, and it grips. And the upside was that this folds back if you need to look at the dial, which I hardly ever do because I use EUC World software device on my phone. So I tried that, and I've decided that wasn't working for me, which is why I went for the handles, the clock pads, the raised King Song top pad, and finding that at least at the moment that's allowing me to practice mounting and dismounting without too much discomfort in my knees. Right, that's it.